Hey everyone! In today's video we're going to prepare to install the drywall on the ceiling. Stay tuned. Okay, so what I'm doing now is prepping for putting the drywall on the ceiling. So the first thing I did was took out some of the Roxo there to have that 3 inches of space around the can light that I'm going to be putting in. I've also removed the old can light, as you see right there. So I've covered up the wires with wire nuts and then put some black electrical tape around those wire nuts to make sure they're nice and secure and so I don't fry myself in here. And what I'm doing right now is just kind of plotting out how I want to hang the drywall. And now I thought about using a drywall lift, but this bathroom is pretty small, so I'm going to do without that. And I'm just going to go ahead and hang it by myself. So in order to do that, I remembered I have this book. It's called Drywall Pro Tips for Hanging and Finishing. And so one of the tips that I thought was really cool in there was they said to put a ledger board on your back wall if you're going to be hanging drywall by yourself to support one end of the drywall. So what I did was I'm going to be putting in 5/8 inch drywall on the ceiling. So I measured down to somewhere around 7/8 of an inch and put a little ledger board on that back wall. That's just a piece of deck railing up there. Okay, so per the pro tip, I decided to build a Deadman to support the other end of the drywall. So how you calculate the dimensions of that Deadman, you take your finished ceiling height, which in my case was 91 inches, and then for the post is going to be that 91 inches plus 1 inch. So that's 92, and then you subtract the 1.5 inches for this top section here. So that comes out to 90.5 inches. This top part here is 3 feet long, and then these braces here I cut with 45s on each end. To attach everything together, I countersunk 2 screws here in the top. Those are 3-inch screws, and then I also put in 1 screw here and a screw here, and then 2 more over here. Those are 2.5-inch screws. Okay, so here's the drywall that I'm going to be installing. This is 5/8 inch Type X drywall. And my bathroom dimensions are 5 feet wide by 8 feet 9 inches long. So I was trying to think of what the best thing to do here is, since I don't really want to have any butt joints in that bathroom if I could help it. So I looked around and I tried to find 54-inch drywall, and I couldn't find it anywhere at the local stores like Home Depot or Lowe's. So I checked with the local supply house and they actually had it. So I cut this drywall sheet, which was 12 feet long, in half and then brought it home in my pickup truck so I can span the whole ceiling with 1 sheet of drywall. Okay, so I've made some reference marks to mark out the center of the hat channel. So when I install the drywall, I have some reference points there. There's one right there, one there, and one over there. And I did the same thing on this side. So I'm all ready to go. Alright, so before I install the drywall, I want to measure the ceiling. So I want to do that in 3 different spots just to make sure that I have accurate measurements. So the 3 spots are going to be at the end here where the wall is, in the center, and then at the 54-inch mark where the drywall is going to go. And so far, from what I can tell, all 3 spots are at 60 1/4, which means I'm probably going to cut the drywall at about 60 inches, so I have about 1/8 of an inch gap on either side, and I'm not trying to force the drywall up onto the ceiling and risk damaging it. Okay, so I only have a 48-inch T-square. So normally what you would do, of course, is you'd hold your T-square up against the drywall like this, and then your foot at the bottom would hold the T-square up against the drywall, and then you cut along that T-square. So what I'm going to do instead, since I don't have a 54-inch T-square, I'm actually going to use sawhorses. Alright, so I've got the drywall set up on the sawhorses here, and I figured I could cut off 6 inches on each end because I thought each end would have issues in being transported home, but I actually found that this end is really bad and the other end's in pretty good shape. So I'm going to take all of the drywall, I'm going to make my cut on this one in here. So what I've done is I've marked off from that end to this end at 60 inches. Got the T-square clamped down here, and then I'm going to have to hold it with my hand as I cut along here because it's going to try to flex, as you can see there, as I try to cut this. And then what I'll do is flip the T-square around and then cut going this direction. So I'm going to go ahead and cut now. And I've got a fresh blade on my utility knife. Okay, so I'm just going to finish this end off here. And just break this off now. Alright, so I've stood this up now. I'm just going to cut the backside to finish the cut. And one other trick I know somebody taught me was to use the back side of the blade of your utility knife to kind of scrape the edge off here, so you don't have a bunch of chunks sticking out and getting in your way when you're trying to install the drywall. And they make tools like a rasp you can use too for this. I don't have one though. So I actually did find my rasp. This is what it looks like here. Okay, so to support the edge of the drywall where we have screws going at around the 7-inch mark away from the wall, so somewhere way out here, I'm going to use these cornerbacks by Prest-on. And these are made specifically for 5/8-inch drywall. They also make cornerbacks for 1/2-inch drywall. And as you can see here, they have a little stem on them so you can screw right through here and into the sidewall. So how they work, just kind of tip it like this just slightly, and then they pop onto the end of the board. And those pressed-on clips will be installed about 16 inches apart. Okay, so I wanted to cut out for the bath fan after I get the drywall on the ceiling. This shroud here was in my way. So there were 4 screws that hold it on, so I took that down. Now I have much better access for a cutting tool to be able to cut out for the drywall. The drywall is probably going to end up somewhere around here, this first sheet, so I can cut that out, and then the next sheet will go up here, and I can of course cut that way. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and share the video and subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for future videos. Visit our website at DIYapprentice.com.